Just a quick tip for all the HR leaders out there too. It's really difficult to balance, or can seem difficult to balance, the needs of the organization, the rules of the organization with the needs of the people in front of you.
Hello and welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast. I'm your host, John Bernatovicz. I have embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope to find out what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you enjoy the show, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that 5-star rating. Hello again and welcome back to the HR Like a Boss podcast. This is John Bernatovicz, your host. Super cool to have Dr. Ben Ritter on the show today. Dr. Ben and I connected through some social networks, and he's a really cool guy living out of Austin, Texas. He's got a cool story. He's a Midwesterner, so he gets all of us here in the Midwest, based out of the podcast being based out of Ohio. So Dr. Ben, welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast.
Happy to be here. I was talking to someone how in the Midwest, at least where I was based in Chicago, I didn't have to deal with many natural disasters.
Dr. Ben, I did a really poor job of introducing you, letting people know you're from Chicago originally and living in Texas. There's a lot more to the story. Please tell the HR Like a Boss community and my listeners all about you and what you're into these days.
Yeah, so right now, split my time basically providing leadership coaching that puts our leaders' careers first. So a lot of leadership coaching programs will just focus on competency and skill development. And we actually focus on career clarity, what are your values, aligning you to the right culture so you can actually feel like you're doing what you were meant to do. So meaningful work, impactful work, work that is going to be greater than just you, even though work can never be greater than you, but at least the feelings can be. That's really our sole purpose and focus. And so we focus on clarity, confidence, and control, the 3 C's of self-leadership within all our leadership coaching clients. And then also I do some corporate consulting work. So I do leadership assessment, design, and delivery for like enterprise, large clients and such.
I know one of the primary reasons why I wrote the book, HR Like a Boss, is that I just got sick and tired. I almost thought it was criminal that every year a Gallup 12 survey comes out and tells me 2 out of 3 employees are not engaged at work and nobody does anything about it. So my hope and aspiration is we can move the needle on that by doing HR Like a Boss and making sure a lot of individuals and clients work with people like Dr. Ben so we can transform that level of engagement. Seems completely off to me to spend 70,000 hours of your life doing something that you don't enjoy doing and don't get meaning out of. Dr. Ben, as you probably know, all guests start out with the one simple basic question that I have on the show. How would you describe the purpose of human resources?
This might have been an answer that has already been said because it's playing with the words, but I imagine that the purpose of human resources is to be a resource to humans. And hence the evolution to people. It's humanizing the fact that there's this function within an organization that is supposed to be there, yes, to enforce policies, but those policies are by default really to create a safe environment for people to thrive, to be engaged, and for them to align with the organizational needs and to ensure that both become successful. And so it's a really difficult position because you have to balance both. What is the organization? What are those commitments? What are those legal ramifications that we have to follow? But then also, what is the culture? What is it that we want our organization to stand for? And then also, how do we create an environment where it makes it easy for people and also makes it so that people want to do that? And so basically, they're a resource to the people in the organization for them to be able to align with those needs and do it in a way that is engaging.
One of the ways I think that human resources can really transform the way people look at work is by supporting employees to find meaning in what they do, to be engaged, to create opportunities, to have safe environments, both emotionally and physically, to have leadership teams and managers that are good at leading, inspiring people as opposed to bad at it, and the impacts of all that. So I'm sure you have some common tips and tricks that you work with your individual clients when they're trying to find more meaning in what they do, be more engaged, find more purpose in their work. What are a couple of those common themes that you see, Dr. Ben, when you work with people?
Just a quick tip for all the HR leaders out there too. It's really difficult to balance, or can seem difficult to balance, the needs of the organization, the rules of the organization with the needs of the people in front of you. And when we're trying to find meaning from our work, a lot of the advice really is to take a step back, figure out what is meaningful to you, what sparks joy and passion and interests and fun, but doing that in a way of, okay, so these are the given facts about where I'm at, what is possible here. Now, the facts sometimes are not really facts. They can be based off of limiting beliefs. And so when someone's in an organization trying to find meaning, a lot of times you have to take a step back, get personal, but then truly also understand your environment and all the clutter that's attached to it that might be holding you back from, oh, I can't do that, or I can't do this, or I can't ask for that. And so for HR leaders too, sometimes the limiting factors can be, I feel like I have to operate within this framework, and this person is like this, so now I've attached these beliefs to them, and I've forgotten that helping someone get engaged and inspired actually just means talking to them and asking them questions and figuring out what is it that they need and helping them understand what the real environment is. What are the rules or regulations that they're operating within, not maybe what they think they can do or can't do. And so when we're talking about finding meaning, it's really letting go of what do I feel like I'm limited by, and figuring out what is the environment, what are those constraints you're actually operating in, and then taking a step back and getting personal of, okay, so what can I do here? How do I craft my current environment to align more to the things that fulfill me? And how do I distance myself from the things that drain me, or find a way to do the things that drain me in a way that is a little bit more inspiring? So we can get into a more specific example, maybe using someone maybe that you know, or I can share a past client experience. But when it comes to meaning, a lot of it is letting go of those beliefs and then aligning ourselves to what we figure out gets us excited. And then through aligning ourselves to what gets us excited, if we lead with a certain sense of curiosity, we'll find out more and more and become more aligned to the things that actually inspire us.
So Dr. Ben, tell me, how would you describe someone that does HR like a boss?
To be a resource for others, you have to know what you care about, know what you're working towards, and create an environment that supports that too. We talked a lot about other people, but an HR leader cannot be a true HR leader without being fulfilled and energized and confident in their own capabilities. So first, you start with yourself, get to that point, and then you'll be able to lead others fully by getting curious, by being empathetic, but operating by a set of rules and ensuring that everyone knows that those rules exist. And so it's not HR is the bad person. This is the framework that we're operating in, and now how do we help you succeed within it?
Well, hey, Dr. Ben, I appreciate your time. I'm going to do a quick recap. You started off by saying that the purpose of HR is to be a resource to humans and to create a safe environment for people to thrive. You want to make sure that as individuals, you're working and you're doing things that have spark joy, interest, and fun for you in what you do every single day. You encourage leaders to lead with a sense of curiosity and avoid making assumptions when having conversations or asking questions. And last but not least, as a part of taking care of yourself, you suggested that we humanize ourselves in order to do a better job of connecting with our people, building relationships, and doing our job as HR pros at our optimal level. Dr. Ben Ritter, thank you so much for being on the HR Like a Boss podcast. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for checking out the HR Like a Boss podcast. If it resonates with you, please leave a rating and review, or better yet, subscribe and share with a friend. Until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.